staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors.
Self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yes, Rayel. This is Yahonatan Dawi with you here. Once again, it's my honor to be with you here. July 14th, 2019. Thank you, KRS-One, singing like prophets, because you just heard a program before me, which was just could be entitled Self-Destruction. And the one you heard before that, self-destruction. The one you're going to hear after this one, self-destruction. Because all you need is another 400 years on the canvas to wake up. That's all you need. It's another 400 years. See, think about, I was talking about our Reconstruction last week and how there was only a brief period of time where voting literally did make a difference. Our voting literally did make a difference. It was our first time able to vote after the Civil War. We put Grant in office not once but twice, and all hell reopened. Think about the word reconstruction. Think about it. If something is reconstructed, that means it's reconstructing from something that has been destructed. So that means it we were to be reconstructed, and by who? By those who destroyed you, and from what? From what your original construct was. See, so reconstruction comes from a man's hands who already committed a destruction. And a destruction from what? From what was previously constructed. You are Hebrew Israelite. When you open up that book, that King James Bible, it is you in it. That is your original construct. And you don't realize it here in your deconstruction. And you are allowing yourselves to be manipulated like clay for a reconstruction. A reconstruction to what? To something that is not originally you. You must learn original words to get original truth. I quoted Ida B. Wells last week when she says, "We will never understand or get an accurate rendering of our history if we are not the ones telling it." And it's true. Ibarit is put together like a brick masonry work, like a brick mason, a righteous job. And that's the way Hebrew words are put together. And that way, the ingredients, the original ingredients are always known. The original ingredients came from he who spoke, that created all things. Look at how he told us his word through the prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Hezekiah, Malachi. All of them are words that you can put together and construct. Isaiah is salvation of Yah. You hear the Yah, Isaiah. Jeremiah is the loosening of Yah. the freeing of Yah. Yerushalom is reign of peace. You hear the shalom. Abraham, you hear father. Braham, he's the father of many hot nations. What nations? What do the people look like who come from the hot parts of the world? What do they look like? Joel. Yah is El. See how you put it together like a brick mason? You have Yah, boom, you put El on there. All the Malachim of the heavens have a specific, unique name, which identifies themselves as what their gift is, or what their strength is, or what their purpose is. And then at the end of their name, there's a construct. El is put on that. All of the angels, and they're countless. Some of the they call archangels. You have Gabriel, which is the power of El, Raphael, the healing of El, Michael, the might of El, Uriel, the fire of El. See the connection there? Am I smarter than everybody else, or do I just have enough common sense like a child to understand the constructing of the Hebrew words and the meaning of them? You don't see any prophet named Isaiah Lord, Hezekiah God, Jeremiah Jesus, Joe God. Everything is Yah and El, even in the King James Bible, which is adulterated and watered down. Even in their own so-called translations and transliterations of the Torah, even in that, you get no Lord God and Jesus Christ and names of the prophets. Even in that, you get Yah and El every time. Am I smarter than everybody else? Or do I just have common sense to know that it means something? This is, in the last day, the kingdom of Yah is going to come down. He says, I'm going to prepare a place for you. He is a brick mason. He is building the kingdom now, building on us, his name, his people. There is no Lord God and Jesus Christ nowhere in that. Even Satan himself, his original name is Heliel. Yahweh. If you're not going to conduct yourself like the family, he takes that back. He took El from Shatan's name, and now he's just plain old hell, Latinized as Lucifer. And this language I'm speaking now, English, what do they say out of their own mouths? Who are the progenitors of the Englishmen? The Angles. That comes from their own mouth. That's what they say. They are from the Angles. And what is an angle? I mean, you went to school, right? You went to there, got their education. An angle is a deviant from the line. A deviant. That's what the formal definition of an angle is a deviation from the line. From a line is what is true. A line is straight, true. So they say out of their own mouths, they are deviants. And the true line, the Torah tells you, is Yahweh Shua, who is the plumb line. So you're going to take your history from a deviant mouth and receive it? That's destruction. All this garbage you hear in all these other stations are garbage if they're trying to tell you to follow the blueprint from deviants. Wake up. You'll make me seem like I'm the most brightest man on the earth, and I'm not. I just got common sense. I think. I'm a thinking person who was hearing my report. Going by their blueprint, how did that work for your Native American brothers? Where are they now? Since y'all don't like to read, this is Yahonatan Dawid with you here, Yahweh for Christians. How many books are selling? I gave you this DVD to look at, which is a good resource material for what they did to your brothers and their construction, their reconstruction. How did that work out for them? Yet your stupid assets are following right behind, doing the same thing. That Christian stuff that they gave you, and you're receiving it, and you're gonna come out of it on top? Why would your oppressor put you on top of him? What? That doesn't even make sense. He's going to give you the blueprint to overcome him. It isn't. I saw a post someone sent on Facebook saying to say that a black man's salvation comes from a white man is an insult to his intelligence, and that is true. That a black man being whipped and raped, a black man being whipped and raped by a white man, being told and having the whip in his right hand and the Bible in his left hand, saying that his salvation, the man who's being whipped, looks like the man who's whipping him. That's an insult to your intelligence. But we do it every day. You hear it on the radio stations all over WLB, and you hear it on all other stations too. No one's speaking what I'm speaking, or very few. Very few. I know a man of y'all who I am under who speaks this. But very few. And my work is unappreciated. It's not appreciated. I don't have any books flying off the shelves. It's not respected. But neither was Noah, because I've only been doing this. I've only been aware for 38 years. Noah preached for 120 years, and only 7 followed him into the ark. Only 7. So I don't give a damn about how many people want to go after Logo and JC. I'm going to keep speaking the truth fearlessly. Yahshua himself, the only perfect man, had a 3-year perfect ministry, and then when it's all said and done, after he rose from the grave after the 3rd day, Christians tell you it's been a day and a half. They can't even count to 3. How are you going to follow somebody who can't even count to 3? So he rose from the grave after the 3rd day, up in Hashemayim, preparing a place for us. And how many followers did he have? 120. That's from a perfect man, straight from heaven. 120. So if I get a whole throng of people following me and listening to me, then that's something I must be telling lies. And that's why you have 2 billion people following JC, because he's a liar. That's how you get him. It's a lie that you are identified as a black man. Got everybody putting their fists up talking black power. That's a ruse. You have subjected yourself when the namer or the identifier is superior to the named or to the identified. That's why they can name something or identify something, because they had the authority to do so. Who receives it has subjected themselves to it. Who told you was black? We'll look in the book. Who told you as a people you were black? The same person that told you was black is the same one that told you if you eat the fruit of the tree of good and bad, you will not die. That's who told you was black. Who told you exercise your franchise and vote and to get what you should get, your rights and all that? Who told you that? The same person told you eat the fruit of good and bad, you will not surely die. Who gave you Jesus? You came off you got taken from the western parts of Africa, put in ships, sent across the Atlantic with the faith of Jesus in your heart. You never even knew of a Jesus, never even heard of him. No inkling, nowhere in your spirit and soul and blood and heart and breath, you nor your forefathers even ever heard of a Jesus. The same person who gave you Jesus is the same one that told you you will not die when you eat from the fruit of good and bad. Who told you you can have everything now in your own way? So you're waking up every day, living your life with the carrot of money dangling in front of you. Being distracted, talking about black power. Stop this dumb stuff. And one step better, just one step, just a half a step maybe, is black Hebrew Israelites. Fools. What power do you have? You have weapons in the armory that you make? Who makes all the weapons? How much do you have? Remember I told you about even one Trident missile can destroy what, like 43 Hiroshimas. following that blueprint of self-destruction. The destruction we're in is so bad that only the right hand of Yah can take you out of it. So what you need to do is wake up, live righteously, and go back home. Go to work. Go home, go to work, go to your wife, raise your children in righteousness according to the Torah by his blueprint. Reconstruction. Justice Joseph P. Bradley was the deciding vote in the presidential election after Grant. He was the deciding vote that put him over the top. Hayes was the Republican. Remember, they had given up on us by this time. If you can access my show from last week, you can contact me, YahwehForChristians at gmail.com, 443-306-3518, and you can look at it on YouTube or get a copy. But he was the deciding vote. And what did he say? This is a quote. When a man has emerged from slavery, there must be some stage in his progress of elevation where he takes the rank of a mere citizen, ceases to be the special favorite of the laws. So you were specially favored. So this has come from the Supreme Court. Justice, right? Remember I told just us is just us. So he was speaking from the Supreme Court of just us. That you were being specially favored. Laws are being given to you, making you specially favored, and that has to cease. You have to be beyond that. So though he casted his vote for Hayes, what did Hayes say in his inauguration? Let me assure my countrymen of the southern states that it is in my earnest desire to regard their true interest. And what was their true interest? Open season on your assets. Because from that point on until 1922, 3,436 lynchings ensued. Wake up, Yisrael. Wake up. Because you're still going through that same blueprint. As soon as you got a little bit of headway, they pulled the rug from under you, and you were just going by their rules. Going by their rules, just like your Indian brothers did. And look what happened to, and where are they? I gave you this. Look at this right here. Reconstruction, America after the Civil War. Since you don't like reading, go ahead and get that DVD PBS special. I referenced that also. We don't learn. Somebody, if you see a person walk down a path and go down a hill and yell and scream, ah, and you hear a splash under there and never come back. You say, I wonder what happened to him. You see another person do the same thing and the same results. And the third and the fourth. Do you think now that you will go ahead and go down that same path? Black power, go down the hill, splash, you're dead. Voting, go down the hill, splash, you're dead. Jesus Christ, go down the hill, splash, you're dead. Lord God, go down the hill, splash, you're dead. Working for money, just for the sake of money's sake, trying to get rich, as if that's going to save you, trying to get rich and trying to go after the American pie, go down the hill, splash, you're dead. They all have the same ending. The same ending. But here, who is hearing my report? Who is listening? Who is listening? Your voting does not matter. It doesn't matter. Did you know that every last president but one was related? They are all related. They've known this for a long time. It's something called the royal candidate theory. The royal candidate theory. Whereas the candidate that wins is one who has the highest percentage of royal blood. That's royal blood. Now, I'm sure they didn't go to Matthew or to Luke when you looked at the lineages of Yahshua, you can get both of those lineages in Matthew, and you also can get it in Luke. I'm sure they didn't go through that line to find out about royal blood when they was voting for the presidents of the United States. This royal blood goes back to the Angles. And this is not me saying this. A 12-year-old girl, her name is Bridge Ann Davignon. She also, in 2009, she published this in detail with 500,000 references. So you go look her up, Bridge Ann Davignon. Their last name is spelled with a small d, apostrophe, Avignon. But first discovered by Harold Baker Brooks, this royal line of how all the presidents but one are all related. You can show that with their own literature, 500,000 references. That being true, and it is, how in hell do you think you're going to go up there and cast a vote on somebody thinking that means something? It's already pre-done. Fools, wake up. Who's going to be president? Who they say is going to be president. How else can you and your intelligence figure out that Dum Dum got in the office? How? Who was abrasive to everybody. Black, females, gays, everybody, and he still won. Common sense will tell you it's rigged. But you know what? There is no common sense. If there was common sense, my stuff would be off the charts. Off the charts. In the 1880s, the lynch law is substituted for your legal system. They said, we have a God-given right to rule the South, and that is true. It was a God-given right. That alone should have you run away from God. That alone. You know, y'all didn't give them the right to do that. 1893, the Chicago World's Fair had your ancestors, up there, caged like zoo animals. 1893, yeah, you out there voting and you have rights. You were on display like regular old animals. Oh, Yahonathan, that was way back in 1980. That was a long time ago. No. Do your research. Because for 50 more years after that, right here in America, in places like New York, St. Louis, and Chicago, people that look like you were on display like zoo animals. The truth is so fantastical, it seems like fantasy to you. That's because you receive lies, and you're used to receiving lies, and you need to wake up to truth. There are people living today who can give first-hand accounts of us being on display like zoo animals. But you're going to go out there and marching and voting. Woodrow Wilson had a first-hand viewing of The Birth of a Nation. Originally, that movie was called The Klansman. Well, actually, it was a play called The Klansman, 1915. He said, this is so beautiful. It is the eighth wonder of the world. And yes, the eighth wonder of the world. All it did was inspire the rebirth of the KKK, who before then, they just lynched us. And they did so, the reason why they used lynching really is because they wanted to use it as a sign, as a symbol. They wanted us to hang there. They didn't just want to kill us and bury us, because then they wanted a message. But after this Birth of a Nation, they added to their tool belt burning crosses. But there you go, going to churches today, under the cross. With crosses around your neck, you go to graves with crosses on your gravestone. How is it that your oppressor can understand the symbolism of the cross and you don't? Could it be that we're stupid? I wonder. So they're going to use a flaming cross at that as their symbol, and then you also have it for yours? For your salvation? 400 years. That's all you need. Maybe what you need is president number 44, right? Now, if I go over, I will go ahead and, if I go over a little bit, I don't know. But I will have this up on the YouTube channel, and it'll be a bonus for you, for those 3 or 4 who might want to look at it. So maybe coming to the rescue could be president number 44. Let's see, from 2009 to 2017, you can get records from the Chicago Police Department, the Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times. This is from their stuff, okay, not from no Hebrew Israelite stuff. You had about 4,000 murders in the city of Chicago. The blood of about 4,000 souls flowed down the streets. Most of them looking like president number 44 in the White House. Most of them look just like him. You know, and let's compare that number of about 4,000. Let's compare that to the Iraqi War, okay, which had about the same amount of years, 8 years. So we got a good comparison, apples to apples, under your boy Bush. 4,400 American soldiers died. So you got about 1 for 1. One of them, though, is an actual war where you're supposed to die or have a real chance of dying. One of them is in good old fruited plains of America, where you can just go down the street, go to McDonald's, and you can just go to church, you can go to the park, play with your children, where you're supposed to be safe and free. Yet, across the water, in an actual war, 4,000 people died. Same time period. And these are, and you know, I was in Operation Desert Storm. I was safer in war than I would have been if I went in and decided to buy a house in Chicago and lived there for 8 years. If I was and I was only there for about 6 months, if I was there for 8 years, I had a better chance of coming home alive than moving to Chicago. And when I woke up in my tent, every day I'm hearing bombs going off. You learn whether they're coming in or out. I had to sleep fully dressed, except with my boots. My weapon at my side. They said, that's going to be your girlfriend as long as you're here. Locked and cocked and ready. Gas mask ready. I was safer there than in Chicago under your President Barack Obama. Wake up. If you're damn voting, stop that stuff. Marching with candles every time another black man's blood goes down the street. You're fools. Go to Yah. Go to Yah. Multiply the 4,000 slain in Chicago by the 33 years of your lynching. Because remember, from 1889 to 1922, there was a lynching epidemic, 30,436. That's 33 years. Multiply, use that same trajectory under Barack Obama, and you have 16,500 deaths. You're safer living in the time of lynch times of being alive than living in Chicago. Now, way back in January, I did, I think, 3 or 4 weeks on this show talking about our police brutality. And we have a police system. It's a militarized police system. These aren't no just friendly cops. And I did that, and I referenced the Guardian study of 2015. Let me give you some statistics of this Guardian study of 2015. 1,134 deaths in the fruited plains of America, KKK, by your police department. These are people who, with a badge, being paid by the taxpayers of wherever jurisdiction they work in. We're not talking about murder or war. We're talking about people who are paid doing their job. They kill 1,134 people in America doing their job. Now, their job happens to be more efficient with people who look like me. black males between the age of 15 and 34 were 9 times more likely to be killed by police officers doing their job. Here's a number that's even frightening to get your mind around. 1 out of 65 black males who die in America through all causes, whatever way, there's hundreds of ways of dying. 1 out of 65 are killed by a police officer doing his job. 1 out of 65. That does not include structural white supremacy system that we're in. Because there's people dying, I would say half of all black males died through this evil system. Remember Psalms 94:20. Will the throne of iniquity, which devises evil by law, have fellowship with you? In other words, the throne of iniquity, your government's here, devised by law iniquity. You can say that today as white supremacy. I'm going to sign off, and you hang around for a bonus for the YouTube channel that should be uploaded in a few days. All right, so this is your $100 week with you here. I'm gonna go over a few more minutes. I had to sign off, and I was talking about the Guardian study of 2015, and in that Guardian study, it talked about deaths of Americans, mostly of black Americans, by the hands of the police, our militarized police department. And it's sad. It's very sad. 1,134 deaths in 2015 by a militarized police department. Black males 15 to 34, 9 times more likely to be killed. 1 out of 65 black males One out of 65 dead by the hands of the militarized police system. Let's compare that to other nations. How dangerous is America? I told you I was safer in war than I would have been if I moved to Chicago. England and Wales, over a 24-year period, had only 55 deaths by their police department. 24 years, only 55 deaths by their police department of citizens. Germany, 15 in just 2-year period. Just 15. Australia, 94 deaths in the last 19 years. This is based on the Guardian study, 2015. For Christians is not just another radio show that goes down the same old. So, I like that commercial, Yahweh's for Christians. So, what does that tell you? In Canada, your sister's right up north. I mean, you can just drive up to Canada, and there's only about 25 deaths a year from their police department of citizens doing their job. We're talking about police departments doing their jobs. 25 a year died at the hands of the police department, right up there in your sister's up north. But here in America, we get 1,200 a year. Finland let's look at this. Iceland has only had one ever. In the history of Iceland, only one death at the hands of a police officer doing his job. Finland has a population of about 5.5 million. In 2015, the entire police department of Finland used 6 bullets. No deaths, but they just used 6 bullets. 6 bullets were fired from their weapon in the entire year. But in Pasco, Wisconsin, a population of only 67,599, that's a small population, that's a small town. If you go to a football game in say, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, they have stadiums of over 100,000 people, fools out there screaming for the football game. So if every last soul in Pasco, Wisconsin came to that game, there'll be a poor attendance. There'll be a low attendance. 67,599, that's not a lot of people. Yet, in that town, Antonio Montez was shot with 17 bullets, just in case he didn't die. 17 rounds went into him by police officers doing their job. But in Finland, with 5.5 million people, only 6 bullets. Bloodthirsty country we live in. It's a bloodthirsty country. If you tallied up all the souls and blood that rolls down the streets from our militarized police department and from the deaths in Chicago during the times of Barack Obama, you could fill a stadium up. You can fill it up. You can fill it up. Wake up, America. Wake up.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
It's a sad thing. I'm going to end this segment now because I'm going to end this segment now, but I'm going to end it with this. Anybody who knows me, and I'm going to look in the camera on this one, knows I'm a man of peace and a man of love. That's what I am. And anybody who knows me knows that I am teaching not hate for anybody. What I'm teaching is love for yourself. In my home, one can tell what is taught in a person's home by watching their children or seeing what their children do. In my home, not to say anything bragging about it, or it's not even, to me, not even a great thing, but my 2 children never came into the home with my son never came into the home with a girl that looked like his mother. My daughter never came into the home with a man that looked like me. We grew up in suburban America. Most of our dealings with people who don't look like us. So my children gravitated towards that. If I was teaching hate in my home, they would not have done that. I did not teach hate in my home. I taught love of yourself. As such, they found people who they end up having emotional ties for and end up being white people. My son always had white girlfriends. My daughter always had white boyfriends. Not that I liked that, but I didn't teach hatred of it. I've been married twice, both by black queens. And I'm a black king. I just teach love for myself, love for my people. I don't teach hate for anybody because of their color. No one has any authority or any power in what color they are. They don't have, so I don't hate anybody for that reason. I hate liars and I hate people who hate me. And I love the truth. I love people who love me. That's my little manifesto I want to put out there for people who want to label me. Do not accept anybody's label of you. You are a man or woman of Yah. You are a Hebrew Israelite from the word, from the book. Do not let somebody label you and put you down and put you in a box to what they want to put you in. Do not accept that. I don't accept labels. I'm an honest, upright man. I do an honest job with an honest company, and I do my job. I keep the law, pay my taxes. And that's what I implore all of you to do. Love you because Yahweh first loved you. Accept Yahweh Shua and deny Christianity. It is not in your spirit and your soul to be a Christian. Fearing God is your enemy. Jesus Christ is your enemy. Yahshua is the way, the truth, and the light, and no man comes to the Father but by him. Hallelujah.